The simplest way to turn people off from God is by misrepresenting who God is. I'm going to say it again. I have a little something in my mouth. I'm chewing on pumpkin seeds. The best way to turn people off of the whole reality, I'm not saying a concept, I'm not saying a philosophy, I'm saying the reality of God, is by presenting him as a false concept of man, by taking the power out of God, right? Taking the power out of the reality of a supreme being. I said reality, not a belief, not a concept, not a philosophy, not a theology. Right? These are the people who have been working to replace the true image of God, the true and living, real God. These people have been working. The powers to be, your churches, your churches and your religious organizations and things like that, whether it's Christians, Muslims, Israelites, whatever. That man has been working to replace God's image on earth, or to step in as God on earth. And the best way to do that is to blur the reality of God to the first people who acknowledge God. You have our people today supposed to be so-called intelligent, who say there is no God. God is a concept of man, right? And they get that from some white philosophy, right? They get that from some Greek or Roman philosophy of the people who were protesting against religion. Now, I'm not a religious man. I've been accused of being one. Several times on Facebook, I've been accused of being a religious man. People told me that I was trying to start a religion, a new religion. I asked somebody, like I mentioned them briefly, but I'm not going to mention the person. They tell me I read some book by ⴘᴟᴏᴛ, some crazy white man, right, about how to start a religion. I told him I don't read books, no, I'm not interested in reading any books from a man named ⴘᴟᴏᴛ or any other person. I said, what I am doing is not starting a religion. I said the difference between what I'm doing and what religion is vastly different, very different. I said we're starting a community that is after the order of God. It's not a religion, a community, right? Not a religion, a community, right? Not a church, I should say. We replaced the church with a real community, right? We replaced the church with a community. That's what we're attempting to do. We're attempting to, in the state of Mentel, give our people a community, right? And we are replacing religion with reality. We're replacing religion and, doctrines and beliefs with, we're replacing that with reality. Excuse me, put this on silent. Cell phones. But anyway, that's the point of this, that we are giving our people a placing an order, right, or a structure, or a movement or a community after the order of God, right? Now, people say as soon as you say the word God, people automatically think religion, right? And that was something new, fairly new on the scene, because we always acknowledge a supreme being or a supreme power. They just start recently calling it, referring to that supreme being as God, in the span of religion versus our history. Right? It's pretty modern to start referring to the supreme being as God, but we do it anyway because this is what our people understand. You have to go to the people to get them to understand the reality of a supreme being that governs everything in this society, or in this planet, I should say, in the universe. You have to get people to acknowledge that by using the language that they are familiar with, right? Because it is a reality that God does exist, a supreme being, someone who is more intelligent than us, that we should be striving to move toward. If we are truly people in tune as extensions of God, we should be striving toward that higher intelligence, toward that higher being. Though we will never catch up to that higher being, we should constantly be after the order of that being, or after the structure of that being and the structure that he set up. Because as I tell people all the time, I said, you see the structures, the governments, and all this thing on the planet, everything that's up on the planet. You see the order on the planet. You see the biological order that you're fashioned in, where your cells and your heart and your voluntary and involuntary system works together. You see that. So that's an order. And I said all orders are put in a structure or put in line by a thinking person. So God is a reality. Because like I said, for all those people who say there is no God, that we gods, and there is no God, that sounds very stupid and egotistical to say that there is no supreme being. Because then I'm going to ask you who put all this here. And I never get an answer. I always say this. For our people who are trying to promote this white man philosophy about this atheism, agnostic nonsense, like I said, I'm an atheist and an agnostic, but I acknowledge God. I don't believe in the theories of man when he talks about God, because man is disconnected from God. But I do acknowledge God as a reality, as a true and living being, because I am here. I am supposed to be, or we are supposed to be, the physical representations of God on earth. So if we exist, God exists. God is an extension of us in a higher state. So God is a reality because we're a reality. See, this is why people don't understand about God. A lot of our people don't get it, and they're lost in this. They don't understand what their connection to God is supposed to be. So they say stupid things like, there is no God, and that's promoted to our people, right, so that we turn our backs. So then we start to look to man as God, right? We start to look to man as God instead of looking to a supreme power, right, that's supposed to be connected to us. God is supposed to be as near to us as far as mental connection than our fingers, right? Our reception with God is supposed to be so strong, meaning through telepathy, right? Through clairvoyance, through mental messages that God sends to the people, what you call inspiration, right? That should be random access. We should be able to get that like it's nothing, but we don't get it anymore. So when we're not getting that anymore, we are mentally dead people. When we're not receiving that intelligence from God, when we start letting man dictate our thoughts and, mankind or other races of people who don't look like us, or even people that look like us. I'm going to just say, I'm not even going to, make it a racial thing, because you got a lot of black people promoting this nonsense, even though, like I said, it's a philosophy that came from the white man and the rest of these people in their atheistic mindset. When you get our people to turn their backs on God, you cut your future off. You cut your future ascension off, because those are the gods. When you say there is no supreme being or no supreme power, that's the same thing as saying there is nothing new under the sun. You cut your reception. You cut all future intelligence that's supposed to come to you. You cut yourself off mentally from receiving the intelligence of God. See, God sends intelligence to people. Man created beliefs around God. That's the difference. Right? You are following beliefs of men. So, of course, you're going to get tired after a while. Of course, you're going to start to say, damn, it ain't no damn God. These people never explain nothing to me. It don't make sense how they explain it. Of course, you're going to say that. Hell, I said it. I said it after sitting through Islam, sitting through Judaism, sitting through the Israelitism or the Christianity or, and the 5%ism. I sat through all of it. I listened to the black man say he God but can't change his condition. You understand? Still under the white man. Not striving toward anything or bringing anything new in, not being inspired by anything on a higher level to change our condition, but yet the black man's supposed to be God? Really? These are the things that go into getting our people to stop following after the order of God. Stop following after the intelligence of God. Stop receiving it because of our ego. Because we don't want to accept the fact, not believe. Because I'm not here to try to push a belief to people. Our people don't want to accept the fact that there is higher intelligence than you. There's beings of people who are more advanced than you, that are more supreme than you, who are constantly moving and evolving mentally, and who are sending intelligence via inspiration to certain people. Now, a lot of simple-minded Negroes gonna say, "Oh, brother, that sounds like that's spookism." What are you talking about? Inspiration is spookism. Higher intelligence is spookism. Only a person who is ignorant and dumb would say something like that. Like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, blind, deaf, and dumb. You understand? The people are blind, deaf, and dumb to the intelligence of God. That's the black race today. That's our people today. They've allowed man to step in as God. Right? We're going to talk about that in great detail tonight. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz, and this is State of Intel Radio. And tonight, the plot to get black people to stop following God. The plot to trick black people, I should say, out of following God. And like the 5%ers in all the nation used to say, I should say, tricknology. What is the tricknology? The tricknology is religion. The tricknology is the so-called pseudoscience. That's the tricknology. That tells you that there was a big bang and that things fell into place and they just happened just like that and everything just fell into order and that's it. Nobody made that happen. Nobody engineered that. There was no higher intelligence. Right? That's tricknology. That's knowledge that makes no sense, plays games with your mind. You understand? No supreme being made that happen. You understand? That's ridiculous. Because like I said, if no higher intelligence made that happen, or what the scientific community call higher intelligence or advanced, a higher form of intelligence, if nobody made that happen, like I said, then you tell me how it happened. You tell me based on the order that a thinking mind or a thinking man, a physical man, didn't put that in order. That we are not following after the order of people who already lived the lives we lived already. That we are following behind somebody. That a supreme being, a God, has not already came and lived the lives we lived already. Had the inventions we had already. Had all the things we had in our life, the things that we were, blew our minds. He already experienced that already and brought that forward. And we're supposed to be after the order of these people. We are supposed to be the next people in line. But see, that won't happen with our people because man has fallen for making other men gods or using or allowing other men to step in as God. What do I mean by that? When your Moors and all these people sit up here and they, and like I said, a lot of our people get away from the whole God, the reality of God, and they call God a concept and a philosophy of the white man, which is, like I said, madness, pure madness and stupidity. Because if you go back, like I said, to the ancient societies, you hear our people talking about ᴘᴟᴏᴛ, Anunnaki, and all these other supreme beings, which is another word for God. Supreme beings, people who came from outside of this world into this world. That's a reality. Advanced people. It's not the white man going out off of this planet and going to other planets, going to moon and going to Mars and stuff like that. So you really think God hasn't traveled to other places as the fashioner of these things? No, this is not a belief. This is a reality. A real man. See, that's the difference between what we teach and what religion teaches, because they teach that some spook or some unseen force made these things happen, and that unseen force, a shapeless force, fashioned everything. We don't teach that in the state of intelligence. Mentally, we would never be foolish enough to teach anything like that. We teach the reality of an intelligent man who walked with intelligent men and women, advanced people, our ascendants, our children, our great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Those are the gods who came back, right, who formed everything and formed us in their image. Where actually, like I said, they are our gods. They formed us in their image. We are the extension of them, or shall I say, they are the extension of us. So it's one bloodline of gods, supreme beings, right, that we're supposed to be in tune with, in reception with. But we don't do that because, like I said, oh, I'm God, I'm this, I'm that, or there is no God. That's a plot. See, because then you put man and you make man your God. You sit up here and you discard God as the guide for your future, and you put you put all of your hopes in man. The Moors, they'll sit up here and they'll go, oh, well, when we get these treaties going and whatnot, things going to get better once we get these treaties going and we go to the government and we do this, that, and the third. Right? So you just made these people your God because you have put them in a position to decide your future. You no longer decide your future. Or you got black people who say, well, if things are going to get better for us in time, we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going. Things are going to get better. What they really mean is the white man is going to make it better someday. Someday the white man, maybe they'll believe in their mind that someday the white man is going to wise up. Or whoever's in charge. I don't care whoever is in charge while the black man is sitting up here just sitting around doing nothing, being a zero in society. He thinks that whoever comes to power is going to somehow wise up and feel like we all the same people. So, I'm going to give you guys rights and then things will get better. Our people don't look to make things better for themselves. Our people don't actually think that that's possible. They really waiting on the white man. So if you're waiting on the white man to do it, then guess what? He's become your God. You understand? That means he's become your God. Since you're waiting on him to make things better for you, since you disconnected yourself from a supreme being, right, and you haven't been thinking futuristically and not focusing on him or your interaction with man, and you're not thinking and focusing on your interaction with God, or that God race, of you being an extension of that God race and coming together collectively with your people to make things happen, then guess what? You've made man your God. You Muslims, y'all made Muhammad your God. You Israelites, you made Abraham your God. The Christians made Jesus their God. All right? Because you do everything in the image of men, not no supreme forces, no supreme beings, so you've been disconnected. The first time they shoved religion in the faces of our people, they disconnected us from God. The minute they made us get on our knees and pray, and they were able to adulterate our form of reception, right, and connection, and sending out tones, and making a mental reception, what the future ascendants are, God children, our God bloodline coming forward. The minute they were able to make adulterate that and call it prayer and get us to get on our knees and put our head down and look up in the sky or look to the east and all this other nonsense, the minute they were able to do that, they disconnected us from God, and y'all fell for it. For the black man to say there's no God, then who do you look to? You look to man. You look to man to pass laws. You look to man to sign treaties. You look to man to give you a job. You look to man to do all these things for you. You look to man to pass laws where you can live at. You look to him. So he has been working to replace God with his image and his work. You look to him to give you a rap contract. You look for him to give you a movie, to make money to make a movie. You look to him to whatever, to spend money for your entertainment purposes, whatever. No system for yourself. No kingdom for yourself. No nothing for yourself. Yet you want to talk about you, the descendants of the ancient Kemites and the Nubians and whatnot. No, those people were in connection with God, with the supreme being. You see them all the time putting their hands up, receiving messages, reception. That's what they were doing when they had their hands up in the air and whatnot, and it looked like they was raising toward the sun. That was about reception. That was about power. They understood the ascension. They understood the future world and outer world. Our people stopped doing it. Now to our people, that's spookism. That's a concept. We was out here and we were me and some brothers was promoting the conference for Sunday, the True God Revealed, and we had an image of Morgan Freeman. Like I said, we had an image with the pyramid over Morgan Freeman's head. Right? Now, people was like, some of our people, it's that's the Illuminati, pyramid, the eye, that's the Illuminati. And, we trying to explain this to our people. Of course, they don't want to hear, an explanation of that. You understand? And I'm trying to explain that came from our people. And these people just took that symbol and adopted it. Right? That actually came from our people in ancient Egypt and Nubia. That comes from us. Negroes don't want to hear that. They just want to hear some nonsense from some rap records where somebody might have said some lines about the Illuminati. That's they've been watching some YouTube videos and some secret society crap, and in between drinking Pepsi soda and smoking their blunts and talking about and worrying about the next pair of sneakers they gonna get. So they come up to us, all with their minds all messed up and whatnot, and they come into us asking us, oh, what's this, some devil worship stuff, or what's this? What's that? Ain't that the Illuminati? And we're trying to explain it. They don't want to hear that. You understand? That's what you call people who are disconnected. That's the people who bought into the whole thing of no God. That's the people that bought into it. That's the people who sit up here, like I said, they can't explain anything about how nothing got here. They want to talk about metaphysics. In other words, they look to the white man to be the author or the authority of their beliefs, of what they think. They look to the white man. What's the first thing black people do when you ask the question? First thing you do is you run to a book written by a white man. First and foremost, maybe you might run to a book written by a black man like a Dr. Ben or something when it comes to Egyptian history. But whenever it comes to some science or something dealing with God or some word, what's the first thing our people do? They run right to some white man or some author, aka the authority. So if he's the authority on what you think, right, that means you're no longer thinking. That means you're no longer receiving intelligence, because you're looking to him. When you go run to his books, you're looking for him to do your thinking for you. So what did you virtually do? You done made that man your God. You done made that man who wrote that book. I don't care if he's black, white, blue, purple, Asian, whatever. You done made him your God. Because 9 times out of 10, he's telling you something that don't make no sense anyway. That don't register with your senses. So we're able to come out here with the knowledge of mentellect, or the intelligence of mentellect, which is from God, from the future, from coming to our people in this day and time to move our people forward. The ones of our people who are asleep, not the mentally dead, because the mentally dead can't be awakened. The mentally dead, they're already dead. There's nothing for them but to lay down physically and die. But those of our people who are sleeping, the ones of our people who are looking to connect themselves, they know it's something beyond what it is they've been seeing out here. They're not dead. They're asleep, and they're trying to wake up. We're connecting with those people. I was told that I'm trying to form a religion, and I said, no, we not. Because I'm going to repeat this again and again and again and again, but to the mentally dead. Now, the mentally dead ones are not going to hear this, but I want all of you to hear it in the listening audience when we're talking about the state of mental and the mentalist. I said that religion takes anybody. Religion, you could go in religion. Anybody could join a religion. All you gotta do to go and join the church is, come in there, dress halfway decent, not smelling funky, have a few dollars in your pocket to put in the plate, and you can go right in the church. No problem. No problem. You can go be a Christian. You can go be a Muslim. You can be an Israelite. You can be part of any of those things, because they don't have any standards. They don't have any moral codes, because you can go and do whatever you want in private. As long as you don't do it when y'all worshiping or whatever, you can go and in the back and be homosexual, lesbian, a pedophile, a child molester. You can be all those things within these beliefs, and then go to church and get prayed up and ask for forgiveness. You can do all these things. No morals. Don't ask, don't tell. See, in the state of mental, we don't just take anybody, as I said. Because it would be so easy for me to just take people, take simple-minded Negroes, take other races of people, to just take everybody and everybody, no standards, and that'd be easy. That's easy. They'd knock down the doors to come in if we allowed everybody into our meetings, but we don't. So there's no way we could be a church. Church says, come as you are. We say, stay away if you're not as we are. You understand that? That's the difference. There are a lot of other differences. We're interested in building a community. I'm going to say it again, a community, not a church. We're actually interested in living this. We don't want to put on this fake facade one day out of the week and whatnot when we want to go and pray and get prayed up. We don't want to put on a fake facade when we want to go to the mosque and pray and whatnot. Then we out here doing everything else. We eating bad. We walking around overweight. We walking around doing all kind of things like regular people in society, yet you claim you're supposed to be different. No, we're not doing that. We don't associate with people who are not doing what we're doing, unless it's business. We want right-thinking people around us, people who have morals, people who have a moral code, values, people who want to raise their children right. We want to be with amongst those kind of people. We want those kind of people in the state of mentality. The people who not smoking cigarettes, not getting high, not getting drunk, not sitting around and eating and being overweight, not doing all these things, not abusing themselves. Right? But if your religion allows you to do these things, then that proves that your connection has been severed. You've been tricked into abandoning God. Because man tells you you can come as you are. Man tells you can come as you are in the church. The man tells you that. But in the higher societies and whatnot, as you go up in the Masonic Lodge and things like that, when they start talking about God, notice you can't just get in that. You can't go up in certain levels and whatnot because you start getting towards certain people and certain levels of people. You can't even go no higher. Right? You can't be in certain things because they got standards. These are the people that acknowledge God, but they don't want you because they got standards. See, in religion, for the masses, that's for everybody. The way religion been selling God is for everybody, and that's not true. God is not dealing with everybody. God is only dealing with a chosen few, an elect people, a chosen race of people, or a chosen group of people. Right? Now, people will say, oh, brother, that sounds racist. But hell, the Jews promote that all the time about themselves. They consider themselves the chosen race or the chosen people. But that's not racist when they say it, though, right? Now, if they want to teach that to their children, that's a beautiful thing. Fine. Teach it to your children. But we're teaching the reality to our children. That's what we want. You understand? We're teaching the reality to our children because we put up the first societies and governments and movements first before anybody did. Under or after the order of God, I should say. We put up governments, we put up societies after the order of God. Now all of a sudden there is no God. You allow man through his technology to put your eye out, to put your mind out. So now the black man walking around here out of his damn mind. Who is the black man's God? You look at the black man, all tattooed the hell up, listening to rock music, pushing each other, doing mosh pits, talking about black power and then doing mosh pits like white boys at rock concerts, jumping around the floor, pushing each other around and whatnot. Right? Who's your God? Who's the God you've accepted since you said there is no God, that you God supposedly in your fantasy world? Who is really your God? Who are the people that you follow? That's easy. The white man. He's your God. Y'all ain't never changed since the days of white Jesus. Right? Y'all ain't changed. It was easy for the nation to accept Ford because he looked like a white man. And y'all did it again today. So that was all part of technology. The actual God with the people who sitting with the potential to be those supreme beings are sitting not working toward that. God does the work. All right? God is not no God or the supreme being is not some unseen force that's not working toward the evolution of a people. God is a seen force. He is a seen force in men and women who are working toward the evolution of a people. That's where you see God at. You see the extensions of God in these people. But you know the black man, he'll sit up and say, or the black woman, well, if I can't see God standing in front of me and doing some miracles and things like that, the fact that your black ass is living here and that you're able to think and that you can actually come through slavery and live another day, that's a sign that a supreme being is in our corner, moving us forward. Some of our people are going to move forward. Some of our people will not. Some of our people will not. Because I ask our people all the time, since you say that there is no God, since y'all teaching that and y'all promoting that, why don't y'all ever come up with a real response to the question I asked you? How did all this get here? Who put this here? You understand? No, see that those philosophies are only appealing to the black man because, like I said, of his ego and his hate. He don't want to acknowledge that someone is greater than him. You understand? But the white man, he ain't got no problem with that. The powers that be, Your so-called sacred societies have no problem with admitting the reality of higher intelligence or a God race because they in tune with it. They have no problem with being in submission to a God race. No problem whatsoever. That's why That's why they got power over over us. Because we would have a problem being. Forget about submission. Like I said, we'd have a problem being in transmission with a God race because our minds are messed up. See, we were supposed to be in transmission with this God race or with God or these race of supreme beings, but because our minds are messed up, notice how they go to work on our minds in society. Mankind goes to work on our minds, getting y'all to smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, eat bad diets, right? Listen to all kinds of nonsense and foolishness and causing confusion. You understand? And they get niggas with in blackface to promote this garbage. You understand? They get a bunch of black faces to promote that garbage of no God. Right? Sounds like a message that's bought and paid for to me. While they disconnecting you from God, like I said, your moral values are dropping. You don't have anything to look forward to. All life is right now, you look at the black man, all life is right now is weed, hip-hop, sex, and all kinds of stupidity. Right? That's all it is. It's folly. It's Meek Mills talking about, amen, church, I want to thank the man, God for giving me the ability to do this and do that. You know what he said. Screw this woman and smoke this and do all that. So now God is to be played with. He's folly. The supreme being is not taken seriously. He's a joke. But then you look at your lives. So the joke is on you. The joke is on the black race. Because we've allowed people to trick us. We've allowed our thoughts to be lowered onto the mindset of mankind. Right? We've allowed him to put our third eye out. Our intelligence, our clairvoyance, our vision, our telepathy, which the source of that is God. Because as I said, we're following after the order of God. Like I said, I know the black man got a problem with that, but you would rather read some books from the white man and follow his philosophy. Because like I said, you black men and you black women who sit up here talking about there's no God, you ain't thinking about nothing on your own. You're not coming up with none of that intelligence on your own. You ain't doing nothing but copying it from the white man and just putting blackface on it. Because like I said, if I ask you where you got that from, why you think that, and you can't even tell me in a clear and a concise explanation as to why you say that. So that's when you know it don't make no sense. That's when you know that you just talking to be talking and that you full of ego and pride. Pride for no reason. Not achieving anything, not moving forward. But yet these people who are over you, they have become one nation under God in submission to God. And y'all too proud and you got nothing. Yet you're under them. Yet you're under them. This is the madness and stupidity that's promoted amongst our people. This is the madness and stupidity. We've been tricked. We've been tricked with all kinds of false philosophies, metaphysics, right? All this stuff, right? The biggest thing for a lot of our people today in the so-called conscious community is these Egyptian names. Egypt. My name is ᴘᴟᴏᴛ. Yeah. Right. Hotep, brother. See, brother, the whole idea of God, that's what messed our people up. Yeah. Well, okay, so since you got all these Egyptian deities, see, it's all the same thing. They say deities, gods, it's the same thing, just different language, right? Since you got all these Egyptian deities like Haru and I said we need to be following the custom of Ma'at and all this other nonsense, right? Well, y'all doing that, and what is it doing for our people? What is it doing for our people? Y'all trying to follow, like I said, men again, customs of men, rituals of men. You trying to get some sort of power off of following customs and rituals, dead customs and rituals of men. I don't give a damn if it is our people. It's still their custom and their ritual. The power is not in the customs or the rituals of men. The power has always been in the future ascension in God. God gave those people power. It didn't come from them. God took power from them once they disobeyed. God cut his connection, his mental connection. He stopped sending them intelligence once they started mixing their seed and they started following mankind. That's why our people fell out of power. That's why our people running around today got this we are the world mentality and we'll never be in power again. Because of that. Because we severed our connection with God. Instead of our people trying to find out how the Supreme Being, God, who we refer to as Amen, the Omni-Man, the eternal man, and those eternal beings that came with him as a race of beings, eternal beings. How are we connected to those eternal beings? See, we don't want to establish no connection with the eternal ones, our ascendants. We want to disconnect ourselves because we want to run to mankind, because we could see mankind in front of our face. But we don't even really see him. We don't see what he really is. We don't see the human for what he is. We so mentally dead and blind, we think we part of the human race. We can't touch our hair and touch our skin and look at them and look at their hair and how it's all the same and their skin and whatnot and tell that we are just totally different species of people, two totally different races. That's what happens. See, you don't come to that conclusion or you don't come to that acknowledgement. This is not a belief or a concept. This is a reality. You don't come to that reality that we are not the same as these people because you've been tricked out of following God. Had you been following God, you would have received the intelligence on the fact that our people are not part of the human race, that we are actually another species of race altogether. It would make sense to you. You wouldn't be sitting around here waiting for the white man to tell you something or waiting for him. Because I had this simple-minded Negro who used to listen to, I guess he still listens to my broadcast. He got proud talking about, because I already knew he was going to basically fall back on me. He goes, well, brother, because one day he listened to it, and he calls on the show and said, brother, you know, what you saying is the truth because I read it in some book somewhere. So what you saying is the truth. So in other words, you couldn't use your own logical intelligence, which obviously you have none. You couldn't use your own logical intelligence to acknowledge whether I was telling the truth. You had to go and read it in a book from some white person. That's your God. That's his God. And he never stopped being his God. That's the reality. And, of course, you're connected to these people. So, of course, you're going to turn against the evolution and the reality of God. You're going to turn against that. You're going to come and cause confusion. You're going to take bits and pieces of the intelligence of God, mixing in with the white man's information, with what you like, and then you're going to spread them more lies to the people and cause more confusion because that's what the people do when they are disconnected from the mind of God. That's what people do when they were conned or tricked out of following God. They don't follow the order of God no more. They don't understand the importance of why our people should come together as a community. They say stupid things like, oh, I think you trying to form a religion. Duh, duh, duh. They don't understand the whole point of bringing our people together as a community or as a collective. Our people sit up here like idiots and go, oh, yeah, see, the Jews could come together, or the Italians could come together, but why can't we come together? Then when you try to bring our people together, oh, you trying to form a religion or a cult. See? That's the mentality of our people. They don't really want things to get better. They waiting for the white man to make things better. And like I said, we got a lot of modern-day slaves, a lot of mental slaves. And no, every goddamn thing is not Willie Lynch. Our people want to keep with this Willie Lynch. That's some more nonsense. How about our people are just demons? A lot of our people are just a bunch of demons. And when I say demons, because I'm going to do a broadcast on that Monday, I'm not going to do it on Saturday. I'm not going to do any broadcast on Saturday. But when I say our people are demons, that's really short for it. And people will spell it D-E-M-O-N, but it's actually D-E-M-E-N, demon, or demented. When you say you're demented or you're a demon, when I say that, what we mean is you are disconnected from the intelligence of God. So when our people are disconnected from their source of intelligence, what happens? They lose their mind. They run around here tattooing themselves up, piercing their bodies all up, putting piercings in their nipples and their vaginas and then they penises and whatnot, and their eyelids and everything else. They listen to rock music. They golf now. They doing that. So obviously, who is their God now? Who are they following? God is the one that you follow. God is the guide that you follow. So if y'all out here, you black men and black women out here, you black men out here perming your hair, right? Trying to look like white women, or trying to relax your hair, or you black men are cutting your hair down because you don't like how your hair look, because you don't like it because it's nappy, or whatever the hell you black men are doing. Or you got dreads in your hair and you extending your hair down, you got dead hair going down your back because you really trying to like white people because you want your hair to be flowing down your back like them, but just the black version. All right? Then that's your God. Those are your goddamn gods. The white man, the East Indian. These are your gods. These are the people you look to. These are the people that are your authors or your authority. These are the people whose books you run to when somebody asks you a simple question and you can't even think for yourself to answer the damn question. You got to go run into their books, so they become your guides. That's all part of the trick, to get you to not think for yourself or think or receive intelligence, I should say, from God. To take your intelligence, which is supposed to be one with God's, and replace it with their way of thinking. See, that's how that works. And look at our people. Am I lying? Look at our people today. You know? Look at our people today. Are they following, or do they look like they following the supreme being, or are they following man? Look at our people today. Look at how they talk. Look at how they think. Look how illogical they are. Look how simple-minded they are, even the so-called educated ones. That just shows you that they're not following the order of God. They following man, the white man. They true God, the white man. Because as I said, God is a guide. God is supposed to be a guide, a physical guide to guide you into the future. All this nonsense about, oh, well, I'm guiding myself. No, you're not. You ain't guiding yourself nowhere. You don't even know where the hell you going. You can't tell me what you doing tomorrow. The black man can't tell me what he going to do tomorrow. You understand that? Nobody's guiding themselves. All guidance and direction is from God. Problem is, our people don't get direct guidance or direct connection from God anymore. That's the problem. We look for man to guide us and tell us what to do and move us forward. We're looking for man to do it. That's why we messed up. That's why we bugged out our minds. That's why we doing what we doing. You understand that? That's why you got black people standing up here marching in gay parades and standing up for people like R. Kelly who peeing on women. You tell me what mentality is that? And I said it because it's the truth. You got our people standing up for stupidity and all kinds of unnatural acts. Once you start doing that, then like I said, that's the tricknology. That's the trick that got our people to disconnect themselves from following God. Because now you follow the philosophy of man. Everything is okay now. Even in Christianity, where they tell you, oh, well, you could eat pork, you could eat beef, you could eat all these bad foods and all that, because we under the grace of God. Some man said that. And it was a trick. Because at one point in time, we had ways to eat. We had customs. We had codes and laws we followed, things we followed that made sense. So you know that the one who brought that was God. But what does man do? Man throws you or takes you against the intelligence of God, and sends you backwards into a revolutionary state to follow man in circles and in rituals. And what does God do? What does the supreme being, the supreme intellectual being, God do? Amen, the true and living God. He's supposed to send our people forward in a straight line of evolution. That's what's supposed to be happening. That's how this is supposed to work. But when you got people who are sitting up here and they want to follow rituals and circles and ciphers and all this other stuff, of course they're going to do the things they do. They're going to keep our people in darkness. Of course our people are going to remain mentally dead as a black people. Our people in darkness, instead of evolving into a bright people of light, an enlightened people, an intelligent people, a people who are moving forward collectively in a straight line of evolution. See, that's God. That's God moving people forward. As long as our people keep going in rituals and circles and doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's man and his tricks. That's man's tricks that stopped us from following God. You understand that? And we fell for it. And we still standing up for the stupidity. We still standing up for it. You still hear the black man stand up for the stupidity. You still hear our people sit up here and say, well, you need to stop trying to, stop talking bad about black people, because, the black people ain't going to listen to you. I said, somebody told me that earlier. I said, I don't want black people to listen. I don't care if black people listen to me. What do I mean by that? I said, I want bright people to listen to me, intelligent people, within the so-called black race. Because I said black and bright. The difference between black and bright is people who are in darkness and ignorance and people who are in intelligence, because there is no black race. There's only brown people, brown ignorant people, and brown intelligent people. The brown ignorant people are your black race, your mentally dead, and your brown intelligent people are your bright race. It's a state of mind, not a physical description. It's a state of mind, a state of intelligence. And our people have disconnected themselves from the true intelligence of God. That's what we're talking about. Forward motion, future movement, collectiveness, and a community of intelligence after the order of God. Not no church, not no religion. But like I said, you'll have a bunch of demons spread that lie that we trying to start a religion or another religion in the state of mental. When I clearly showed it that we not, because religion would be easy to start. Hell, if I was starting a religion, I could get money from the government. I get buildings. I get money from parishioners. Because hell, if I let everybody in, hell, other races of people, hell, we don't. They say, oh brother, you discriminate against people. That's kind of racist. I said, no, we don't. I don't discriminate against nobody. I don't hate nobody. I don't dislike anybody. I don't love nobody. I don't dislove. Like I said, my focus is on the evolution of my people. That's it. That's it. The focus is on the evolution of my people. Because God is demanding that our people evolve collectively right now. Right now. And you got a lot of people who don't want to see that happen. You got a lot of our people who don't want to see that happen. You got a lot of our people who are not connected to God, but they have vowed to serve mankind. They have vowed to follow mankind and lead you in circles and madness, following mankind and disconnecting. You got a lot of them. You got them in the entertainment industry. You got them at your job. They're your boyfriends, your girlfriends. All these people are following after the order of man, the beast, as they refer to him in Revelation. You understand that? They're not about the evolution of God or the intelligence of God. The majority of our people are not about that. God is not dealing with the majority of our people. That's the reality of it. So all this, we need each other. We all black and we need each other. No, in the hell we don't. Yeah, well, y'all go and y'all go need each other. You need these people. We need God. The bright ones know we need God. We need the intelligence to the true and living God. Amen. The real supreme being, not no Jesus, not no Allah, not no Yahweh or Jehovah and these other false gods, because we had these false gods for years, and what is it done for our people? What has it done for our people but got us moving in a circle of madness? You understand? We have not evolved. But when we called on the name of Amen, collectively, not individually, but collectively, we move forward as a people. See, because that's something our people don't want to get inside their head. Why we got to come together? Why we just can't be individuals? Why we don't need another leader? We don't need no more leaders and this, that, and the third. But you following this government, you following society, you following the white man. Every time you get up in the morning, you following something. Every time you get up, you following something. Every time you spend money, every time you go to your job, every time you stand in the corner and sell drugs, you following something. So don't give me this crap about, why we don't need no more leaders. No, you just don't want nobody who look like you to lead. You just don't want nobody to look like you to lead our people. That's the problem. Because you egotistical and you a jealous Negro. You a hateful, jealous, envious Negro, and you don't want to see another person like you leading our people. That's the problem. So you'll come and cause confusion. That's why I said, mine out for these black demons out here. We're going to talk about that Monday. Mine out for these black demons. Because you're probably married to one. One is probably your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your minister, your imam, your school teacher, your professor. You understand that? A lot of demons. Your boss. Anyone who is against the evolution of God's intelligence and a new people, they are demons. They are demented. And 2/3 of your black race are demons. Straight up. They demented. They're not in tune with God. That's why we keep saying, if you notice, I'll say something over and over and over again and they still don't get it. That's the people that are mentally dead. Those are the people who've been tricked already. They've been tricked from birth. And there's no reviving them. There's no moving them forward. There's no connecting them back with God again. They're not going to get it. It's not for them. That's just what it is. They're the people that want to come in groups and whatnot. They'll be the ones that say, well, you know, you're doing the state of mental thing. How many people you got? What difference do it make? If you truly are sincere and you acknowledging that this is the truth, the logical truth, then you're going to be here. But if you're looking for people, then now you know what that means when people ask you that? Well, I tell the brother, I said all the time, I tell the brothers and the sisters, I said, when people ask you how many people is there, what they really want to know is how many people can I come there and use to cause confusion with? How many people can I whisper in their ear like a demon and cause confusion? How many people can I get with and gossip with and talk nonsense with and turn everything backwards or get everything going back in that rotation again? Because they're programmed mentally to do that. They're programmed mentally to go against God. They're programmed to mentally go against the intelligence of God and the forward movement of God. Because if they're not, and like I said, since our people say there's no God, what are you offering to the people? What kind of intelligence are you offering to the people? What kind of logic and intelligence are you offering to the people other than repeating what some white man said? Metaphysics, Pan-Africanism, or some black man. Like I said, because the black man ain't going to get off the hook new. Just because, like I said, just because some knowledge comes from a so-called black man don't mean that it's coming straight from God. It's just coming from that black man who wants to have followers and whatnot. He's coming with a bunch of fragmented truths and knowledge. He's not coming with any logic to move the people forward. He's saying the same thing over and over and over again. You understand that? Got a lot of black Caucasians out here, black faces, a bunch of black shiny faces out here who coming off as pseudo-intellectuals and telling people, oh, well, brother, there is no God. Brother, sister, there is no God. And y'all sitting there going, there's no God. But you never asked them the intelligent question. Where did all this come from? These handkerchief head Negroes and these conscious Negroes and these slum Negroes who sit around calling themselves God, they can never explain that. Why can't they ever explain that? Why can't they answer a simple question? Where did all this come from? Why can't they answer that? You understand? Because a lot of these Negroes, they just want to hear they self-talk. You understand? They just want to hear they self-talk. That's it. They'll say there's no God because they want to disconnect you from God. Or they want to connect you to some religion. They want you to be a Muslim. They want you to be an Israelite. They want you to be a Christian. They want you to be a Jehovah's Witness. They want you to be a Buddhist. They want you to be a Mason. Whatever the hell our people are following today. But notice it's not changing the lives of our people. We still in the hood. We still ignorant. We still separated. We still sectioned off. There's no forward intelligence. It's just a bunch of people saying the same things they were saying 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 400 years ago, 5,000 years ago. It's the same thing over and over and over again. You think a true God works in that way? No. The true and living God don't work that way. He gives forward intelligence to a people who are ready to receive his intelligence to move forward. God is supposed to be a guide, not somebody who's sitting up here acknowledging a bunch of rituals. God don't give a damn about your rituals. He don't care about your prayers and your charity and all this nonsense. God ain't dealing with the majority of that nonsense. He's dealing with the white man now. He's dealing with the elite. That's why they in power, because they following the order of God. Y'all not. That's why they were able to trick you, because the order is supposed to go to you first. As the natural manifestations of God, the order is supposed to go to you, meaning the society and the first movements were supposed to go to you. Now, all of a sudden, y'all the last people. What put you in last place? You accepted their tricks, their technology, as the Nation of Islam would say. You accepted their lies about God to get you from following God, following the order of God. That's what I mean when I say following God, following the order of God, the structure, the setup. This is real. The government of God, the community. Because we know how to live righteously as people, we choose not to. Or we want to live behind false gods. Or we want to be part of other people's community. We want to fit our way in. We want to be part of the Muslim community. We want to be part of the Christian community. We want to be part of the Israelite community. We want to be arguing back and forth with the Jews about who the real Jews are. They won. They might well be the real Jews. They gonna be the real Jews because they working. They living that out. I gotta respect that. They living that out. They taking care of their children. They living in the community together. They put their egos aside. They working together. That's how God works with his beings. That's how God works with his people. Black people do not mirror the natural manifestation of God today. So there'll only be a chosen few on the elect. Because if you can't explain to black people the purpose of us coming together and putting all of these beliefs aside for one intelligent order to rise up, if you can't explain that to some egotistical Negroes today, then you know what? Forget them. These people have been tricked out of following God. And they're going to sit up here and trick others out of following God because they've already been disconnected. So they're going to spread that virus, that mental virus amongst the people. And they've been doing it in the conscious community and by way of these ignorant books from the philosophies and concepts from the white man, the Asian, or whoever the hell else they're getting these books from. This metaphysic crap, these theories and all this nonsense, so-called science. Yeah. And what is it doing for our people? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. How is it raising our people forward? How is it contributing to the evolution of our people? Because we're supposed to be going through an evolution by the power of God right now. We're supposed to be going through that evolution. Right? But we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not moving forward. We're just moving in circles, spinning out of control, till eventually we're going to fall. This is real. See, our people, it's not going to take long. Like I said, it's not going to take long for our people to realize, like I said, because we already figured out, majority of our people already figured out that nobody's dealing with us. There's no God for us. We living for today. We're not thinking about tomorrow. We living for today. We're not thinking about tomorrow. We're not thinking about no intelligence of God. That's reality. See, when that happens, like I said, when that happens, when our people are lost out in the world searching, like I said, we doing all kind of madness out here. We just taking in anybody's philosophy. We taking in anybody's belief system. Right? We following anybody's thing. That's why we Muslims. That's why we Israelites, we Christians, we all these things. We Buddhists. That was the trick to disconnect us from our true connection with God. Because who would have a stronger connection, a realer connection with God than the so-called black man and black woman? Same way you allowed them to con you into calling yourself black men and black women, Africans and all these other things, all these concepts is the same way they were able to con you into disconnecting yourself from God by getting you to follow the religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and now so-called pseudoscience, metaphysics, and all this other stuff, which is nothing but New Age religion, to turn you off from God. To get y'all, when you hear God, y'all like, oh, man, what is it, another religion? No. This is one reality. We'll be right back. I can respect the black man or the black, who repeats this nonsense about no God if he came to these conclusions on his own. I can respect that, right? Because at least you came to a logical conclusion on your own that there is no God, right? Like you say, or that you are God. You came to a logical conclusion on that. But you didn't come to a logical conclusion on that. You just repeated something you heard somebody else say, and you didn't even think about it. I don't care if there was black, white, blue, purple. You just repeated something that didn't even make sense. You said there's no God, but how did everything get here? You said that there's nothing new under the sun, but it was a time where there were no TVs, no airplanes, and none of this other stuff here on the planet. So where did all that come from? I still haven't gotten an answer to that. Because these Negroes swore up and down, like I said, black people don't think when they say stuff. They just repeat what they, like I said, black parrots. You got a bunch of black parrots in the so-called conscious movement. You got a bunch of black parrots in the so-called do this metaphysics crap. You got a bunch of black parrots, right? Bunch of black parrots. All they do is repeat what somebody else said, and especially the white man, because, they see the white man in power. So, he's the authority, a.k.a. they slave mind kick in, and they just going to follow everything and say, there is no God. You right. You right. There is no God. There is nothing new under the sun. Everything been here before. No, yeah, the TV was here 400 years ago too, brother. The cars was here 500 years ago, brother. The radio was here 1,000 years ago, brother. See, you didn't know that. Yeah, where were they? See, our people didn't say anything. Somebody had to present these things into this atmosphere, into this existence. Somebody had to present the idea for these things into existence. See, by you thinking this man doing this, aka the white man, you making him God. That's how you disconnect yourself. Right? He gets you to disconnect yourself from God. See, because he knows that his inspiration, his intelligence comes from a supreme force or a supreme being. He knows that. You black men sit up here and you black men sit up and say, "Oh, ain't no God and whatnot." They know it, and they the ones that came up with the ones that received the thought to put that out there. They the ones that received it, and they know where it came from. They know that reception is going through the atmosphere. That's why they got their satellites up. I'm gonna keep saying it again. But y'all simple behind sit up there, "Oh, ain't no God." You know why y'all people say that? Because ain't no God dealing with you. Ain't no God sending you no messages. So somebody who gets messages, they hating on that person. "Oh, ain't no God. He making that up because he ain't getting nothing or she ain't getting nothing." Because they walking around here ignorant as hell, thinking about sports and the football game and weed and getting some sex or whatever the hell they thinking about, something simple minded. Because no intelligence is coming from them, no inspiration is coming into their mind. So of course you can't have it if they can't. You understand? Who that nigga think he is? He ain't no God dealing with him. That's a spook God he talking about. Ain't no God dealing with him. I'm God. Or there is no God. Right? Or everything just fell into place. And no God made that. And everything just fell into place. Our bodies and our hearts and our livers and our kidneys fell into place after a big explosion that happened by accident. You see how stupid that sounds? And like I said, the white man didn't even have to think. He didn't even have to think when he said it. He just knew it'd be some idiots who would repeat it. And there go the black race showing up. The handkerchief head Negroes and the black race don't think. They showed up just on time to repeat it. Around the rest of these idiots and within society who say this, they repeat this. There's no thinking mind that made this happen. Yeah, that's the mentality of our people. Or we did it, we just forgot. That's my favorite one. That's the new one. That's somewhat new. That response. We did all this stuff. We just forgot how to do it. You mean to tell me you can't even? Okay, I ain't asking our people to create no new universes and new solar systems and things like that. Get some order in your house. Get your people together. Stop smoking weed and doing all this stuff. Well, I'm saying though, we was tricked into doing what we doing. That's why we doing what we doing. We got Willie lynched and and blah blah blah. And or we was cursed. Yeah, mental punishment. A punishmental order went out on our people, like I always say, because they chose to disconnect themselves from the God race, from the almond beings. And I say almond, like I said, a lot of these Egyptology Negroes will come up, "Oh, brother, almond this and all." Yeah, almond. Why? Because almond still continues to this day. And that has nothing to do with man. God kept his name in the minds of man. Black men, white men, any man that structures the government on order has almond's name in his forehead, in his mind. As that eye in the pyramid that you simple-minded Negroes talking about, "Oh, that's the Illuminati and that's Satan, that's Lucifer," or whatever the hell y'all talking about. Don't even know what you're talking about. Just saying something that you saw in some documentary, some more nonsense to get you disconnected from following God. Right? See? Didn't even take long to get our people to wander off, to mentally wander off. Didn't take long. Didn't take long to get our people to go into Jesus and put Jesus up and put Muhammad up and put up Abraham and all these men. That proves that our people follow men. They don't follow the intelligence of God, because none of these men really brought no intelligence from God. They just came up with their own concepts and fragments of truths from other things. And our people just follow it. If you're going to follow some intelligence or some man teaching intelligence or we teaching in the state of mentality, follow it based on logic. Because God deals with logic. God don't deal with belief. God don't deal with concepts. God don't deal with philosophy. God deals with logic, common sense, intelligence, intellect. Supreme intellectual being, a man, a physical man who walked in physical form, who is more advanced than we are. But like I said, the average black man who's egotistical, who would rather follow the white man, who would rather sit up here and repeat his philosophies and concepts and his beliefs. There ain't no God. Stay away from these Negroes. Stay away from these ain't no God Negroes, or stay away from these religious Negroes, or stay away from these I'm God Negroes. Stay away from them because they ignorant as hell. They can't explain why they saying what they saying. They just saying it out of ego and out of ignorance. And while you're listening to these people, while you're giving your ear and your attention and a minute of your thought capability to these people, you're lowering your thought capability. You're lowering your intelligence by listening to these people. You're lowering it. When you listen to these philosophies, when you listen to these concepts, when you listen to these beliefs and these religions and these theories, you're lowering your intelligence. Open your mind to the reception of God by way of logic, intelligence. What makes sense? It makes sense that God is a man. It makes sense that God is a thinking man. Hello? It makes sense that God is moving forward and evolving people. Hello? That he's sending intelligence via telepathy, mental connection to a people, to a certain people. That's spookism though, right? That's spookism. Telepathy is spookism because you can't get it, because you slow, because it's not for you. Yet we experience telepathy all the time. Clairvoyance, intuition. Where's that coming from? Oh, that's coming from the inner God in you, brother. You the inner God, brother. Okay, inner God. Get your people out of bondage. Inner God. Get your people out of, change the condition of the people. Because if you so-called an inner God and you're supposed to be God, then why aren't you doing anything different from man? Because by calling yourself God and saying you got an inner God in you, then that means your outer you is supposed to be doing something different than regular people who don't acknowledge themselves as God. But if you out here eating, sleeping, crapping, saying the same thing over and over again, just basically living your life like everybody else, then you're not a God. You just like them. You a man. God does things that are different from man. That's why he's called God. He does things on a higher level, on a more advanced level than man. And any man that's not doing that, then you're not God. Simple as that. Simple as that. That sounded cute in junior high school and high school when y'all guys were trying to get the raps with the girls and whatnot, and y'all was being gods or whatever the hell y'all was talking about. But like I said, now you're out of high school and you're in the real world. And you guys got to stand up and guide your people. You're not doing it. You're not standing up and guiding your people. If you're not standing up and guiding your people, then you're not gods. If you're not coming up here telling them truth, giving them new intelligence, not some old, spherical, ritualistic knowledge that you keep saying in circles and circles and circles, because the beast moves in circles. God moves in a straight line. We're supposed to be moving in a separate evolution, separate from their revolutionary state. We're supposed to be moving in a separate evolution, receiving intelligence from on high. On high is outside of this atmosphere, outside of this solar system, in another solar system, in another world. Because, yes, worlds do exist beyond this one. This world is doing nothing but following after the order of greater worlds. Our people don't want to acknowledge that. We want to sit up here and think we the only ones, we the only game in town, we the only people on earth, we the only God sitting on earth. Yeah, right. You keep believing that. You keep it, yeah, exactly, believing it. Not thinking about it, not really fathoming it or going over it in your head. You just sitting up here just repeating something because, like I said, it strokes your ego. I had somebody tell me, you need to stop talking so bad about the black man if you want to get followers. That's funny. That's funny. Stop talking bad about the black man if you want to get by. I said, I'm not talking about I'm not trying to sugarcoat, and I'm telling the truth. Black, white, blue, purple, I'm telling the truth. I don't care who don't like it. It ain't for you. Because the people who want you to sugarcoat the truth, or the people who want you not to say, don't tell the truth, those are people who are not of God. They're not men from God or women from God. They're not from Amen. They follow the beast. You understand? They follow the beast. They want you to stroke the black man's ego, tell him everything is all right. You God, you the great ones and you the righteous ones, and y'all doing all this great stuff and whatnot. Meanwhile, y'all ain't taking care of your kids. You smoking weed all day. You walking around the hood with your pants hanging off your ass. You talking about a bunch of nigga nonsense like sports and everything else, or some metaphysic crap, or you talking about chasing some money that you never catch. Right? That's what you're talking about. These are the things that you live for. Right? But that's what happens, again, when you're disconnected from the mind of God, when you have been conned or tricked into not following God any longer. See, because all these things wouldn't be a problem with our people if we truly followed God. As we start to pick up reception, we start to be able to alter our situations and fix our problems. Real things would become important to us instead of trivial things like cars and sports and all kind of stupid stuff the black man and black women talk about. These things wouldn't be important to us any longer. See, they keep things out here to stupefy us, to keep us in folly, and the black male simply say, yeah, you're right, brother. You know, they do keep things out here to keep us dumb and ignorant sometimes, and yet you still live out here and you still do the same thing over and over again. You're not trying to change it. You're not trying to change it. In other words, yeah, brother, but, I ain't going to do nothing about it because you black men are burnt out, man. The majority of you black men and black women, y'all burnt out, man. Y'all, the 2/3 of y'all is gone, man. Y'all finished. And now when people say about the 2/3, it's all, that's what the Israelites say. No, the 1/3, when they say that like I said, that represents the 13th group or the 13th tribe, the new people, because number 13 represents the new people that will come out of the black race and who will be reconnected to God, Amen, again. That's prophecy, and that's real. They will be connected to the future ascendants again. But for the majority of our people, forget it, man. That's why I said I'm not trying to tell the black man anything to appease him. I don't give a damn what the black man think or what he don't like. Nigga, I don't want you listening to me. I don't want y'all listening to me. I want the bright ones of our people listening to me. That's the ones who are going to come. That's who this is for. I chastise the black man and black woman so I could drive the bright ones away from you, because they supposed to look at you and go, damn, you know what, he right. Let me get away from these niggas. That's why I do it. I don't do it because I want to convince y'all to change or I'm trying to get y'all to follow me. I don't want you following me. I want y'all to stay away from me. Because we sit up here in the streets and we trying to teach our people and wake our people up. But like I said, the majority of our people, they don't want it. They want ignorance and stupidity because, like I said, they're mentally dead. So you respect the dead and you leave the dead where they are. You respect the dead and you leave the dead where they are. You don't try to raise the dead. No matter what they say in those and that what is it and the seances where you raise the dead, you leave the dead where they are. Let the dead sleep. Let them stay in the state or in the time frame they in. Leave them in the time frame they in. Don't try to bring them into your time frame. Don't try to raise them up. So, like I said, when I'm talking to our people, I'm talking to the bright ones of our people. I'm not talking to the ignorant ones of our people, because the ignorant ones can't hear me anyway. They can hear me. In other words, they can hear the words coming out my mouth, but they don't comprehend what's being said. They can hear me, but they're not listening. They know noise is coming out, or they know that words and sounds is coming out of my mouth, but they're not going to be able to comprehend it. They're not going to be able to understand it. So, of course, they're going to get angry with it when they hear it. That's like when you tell a dumb person something. If you notice, you tell a dumb person something, right, and they too stupid to understand it, so they start getting mad because they don't understand it. That's how the majority of our people are going to be toward this message. Because you have to be on a mental level, you have to be on a mental frequency, coming on that level of God, Amen, that future being or those future beings in order to receive this intelligence. If you're not, then you're going to be like the rest of the damn black race. When they hear this message, they getting mad, they getting upset. Oh, why he got to talk about us like that? Why he got to? That's what they're going to do. They're not listening to what I said. They only hear certain key things. They just know they don't like what's coming out of my mouth. They don't like what's being said. because they're not really included in the evolution of the people. They here to keep the things going. They here to keep you pulled down. They here to keep you in the hood. They here to keep you pregnant. They here to keep you black women, you sisters pregnant. They here to keep you in the hood. They here to keep you smoked out on weed, crack, whatever, selling dope. Keep your kids ignorant off of stupid hip hop music, because that's a people who have been tricked into not following God and have replaced God with man. All right? That's the reality of this thing. That is the reality of this thing. This is real. This is a real mental war right here. We're going through a mental war right here. This is a mental war we're going through. This ain't no physical war like these simple-minded Negroes and the Black Power Negroes, the Black Power Rangers. Yeah, we're going to go through a real war, and we're going to pick up that. No, this is a mental war. See, because you can kill people in a physical war. Physical war is easy. You get bodies. But see, what's hard to win is a mental war. A war where people are disconnected from the mind of God, who can't see the future. I said, you want to sit up here and talk about the future with our people. You want to talk about our people in the future. But like I said, you notice within the so-called conscious communities and things like that, they always talk about economics, right? No, they talk about economics. They talk about what do they talk about? Racism, the white man. They talk about all these things, but they never talk about the mental ignorance of our people. They don't talk about the mental problem of our people. They never talk about that. They talk about they blame the white man. The white man's the devil. Africa, culture. They talk about culture, race, philosophy, science, money, finance. They talk about all these things, but they never talk about the mindset of the black man, the so-called black man and black woman. They never talk about the mental problem of the black man and black woman. They never talk about that. They stay away from that. How the hell are you going to build a so-called nation or a movement or a collective of people when the minds of the people are not right? When their minds are not lined up with God's mind? Because God's mind is right. His mind is right and exact. So if your mind's not lined up with a God mind, you understand? If your mind's not lined up in a God's with an intelligence toward God, then how the hell are you going to explain this to a people? How the hell are you going to have a people come together? How are you going to have a people come together? How are you going to move a people forward? You understand that? How you going to do that when their mind's not right? You in the so-called conscious community and the so-called pseudo-intellectual community, you handkerchief head Negroes, the ones who go to work 9 to 5. You guys read all these books from the white man, and you trying to sound like basically carbon copies of the white man. You guys, you sit up here and you talk about everything under the sun from the black man's problem is financial. It's racial, it's economical, it's a class system. It's all this nonsense you talk, but you never attack the mental problem of the black man and black woman, why they like that. You never really go into that. And when you do go into it, you only stay on the surface level. You stay on some shallow nonsense like Willie Lynch, post-traumatic slave disorder, all kind of stupidity, but you never talk about our people who are disconnected from the mind of God. You don't talk about that. See, that's the biggest, and that's the one and only problem with our people. When our people get connected back to the mind of God, all that other stuff will fall right in line. That's the small stuff. See, because we got all those problems because we are disconnected from the mind of God. Financial problems, all these things, because we are disconnected from the mind of God. That's why we like this. That's why we in poverty. That's why we got people telling us what to do. That's why your sons and daughters, your son's going to jail and your daughter's pregnant at 12 years old and 13 years old. That's why your son's homosexuals and your daughter's lesbians, and before they even know what the hell sex really is, that's why they doing what they doing. Because they disconnected from the mind of God. They've been conned, tricked into abandoning God, not following God. You say God to the average young ones, all people that, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. That means they can't even find God in themselves. They want to chase man. They want to tattoo themselves up. They want to write all over their skin. That's a demented person that does that. They want to write all over their skin, draw pictures on themselves, pierce their ears, all kind of backwards demonic stuff. That's demonic. That's demented. That's the people who have a mental problem. You talk to those people who do that. They have some kind of mental disorder. Why would you want to write pictures and write all over yourself? Why would you want to stick pins and cut holes in your ears? Something's wrong with you. You understand? Aren't more of our people doing that now? Aren't more of our people going in the clubs and jumping on and sky surfing in the concert and pushing each other and knocking each other down, and they call that dancing? Ain't more of our people, black men, disrespecting black women, leaving them leaving them pregnant with babies to raise, and you ain't taking care of your responsibility? Ain't more of our people doing that? Yet they want to talk about God. Oh yeah, I believe in God. What God you believe in? Oh yeah, the white one. See, in that world, that's okay. You know, people say, oh, ain't nothing wrong with our people. It'll all work itself out, family, once we come together. Nigga, we ain't family, nigga. Family. That's the favorite thing with the so-called black man, this conscious thing. Family, yeah, family, yeah, no, we not family. We ain't family because we don't think alike. My family are the people who think as I think, do as I do. That's my family. Not because we share the same skin complexion. That's just one prerequisite. That's just one prerequisite. That'll get you. That'll put your foot somewhere in the door, but we'll get the door closed in on your damn foot if you talking some madness about there is no God or I'm God or that everything got here by something. I know you disconnected yourself from the mind of God. You talking like the white man now. You talking a bunch of stupidity that he don't even believe, that he don't even acknowledge to be true. He's just telling you that just so he can get a bunch of black parrots and the rest of the simple-minded people on the planet to repeat some nonsense. Things that don't make sense. Tricks. You're talking about the matrix? That's the matrix. The matrix is disconnecting yourself from God. So now you made man your God, your author, the authority. You made him your God. You follow his order. You don't follow after the order of God. You abandoned God. He got you to abandon God. And he worked on your ego to get you to do it. Right? Because he offered you something fast, quick. He gave you a quick, fast answer. Because you know how our people are. We love quick, fast answers. We don't want to think about nothing. We want everything quick, fast. We don't want to think about nothing. We don't want to work toward nothing. We don't want to open our minds up to the intelligence of something higher. We want to sit up here and think we the most high. And you niggas sitting in the hood smoking weed, smoked out on a bench somewhere in the hood, or sitting around talking about nothing, but you the most high. Or you sitting in some church praying. You understand? Or you sitting in some mosque, wherever the hell you sitting there praying for something to happen when all you actually doing is begging for something to get better. And following a bunch of people and things that you don't even really believe in because you only there because a whole bunch of other people there. Because your mentality is, well, it must be the truth because there's a lot of people here, so it must be the truth. Duh. That's the black man and black woman. Well, Christianity must be the truth because there's a lot of people in the church. Well, Islam must be the truth because there's a lot of people in the mosque. Or Yahweh Shai got to be true because there's a lot of people in the camps. But look at the people. They saying the same thing you saying, and ain't nobody thinking. The lights is out. God is disconnected. God ain't home. We'll be right back. You know, people say they have a problem with the way I talk. You know, well, brother, why you got to come at people like that? Why you got to be this way? Brother, why you got to say it that way? Why you got to, I'm sorry. Maybe I should take the passion out of my voice, the fire out of my voice. Maybe I should be more monotone. Maybe I should, cater to people and not say the word nigga so much and whatever the case may be. And I should talk like that, just take the fire out. But you know what? I thought about that one time and I said, and I put that idea quick out of my head because I give it how it comes through me. How it's moving me to do that, how the intelligence is moving me to do that, how the soul is going through me to move that to my people. That's how it's coming out. Our people love fiery speakers. Our people love fiery speakers, people with some soul in their voice, some fire. because we soulful people. We don't like no monotone. Yes, and the reason why our people are not doing this is because we're not doing this, and we're not doing, and we're not doing this, and we're not doing that. No, that's spiritual talk. We don't do spiritual talk. We do soulful talk. God is a soul being. God encompasses man and woman, the so-called bright man and bright woman. He encompasses us mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul, not spirit. That's the human race. He encompasses us mind, body, and soul. There's a reason why mankind put those words together, because he was directed from God, Amen, to put those words together, mind, body, and soul. Right? Because we had those words or those same ideas or those same ways of thinking of how God encompasses us in the mental, physical, and in the soulful state, in the soul state, right? And we allow people to tell us, move us away from all that and get us into the spiritual thing. They got us into the so-called spiritual essence, the abstract essence of God that they created, the spookism, because there was a big question mark about God. Because, like I said, when our people were putting God up, the image of God up, and then, the societies that came after, like the Greeks and the Romans, they wanted to put gods up in their image, or they ain't never have no contact with no God. So that left a big hole in the picture of what they were trying to put out. That's when God became unseen. That's when God became a spook, a spirit, because he was unseen to them. And once he took that and ran with this unseen God business, because at first he tried for a little bit, then he put Jesus up there to replace it until he got an image. Then he put white Jesus up there, who became God now. Like I said, people ran with that. And our people still run with that today, to the point where now that was the absence, that whole spirituality, abstract way of thinking about God became the idea, the concept of no God. See how they were working on erasing God from our mind? First we had God as a physical being in ancient Egypt and ancient Nubia, right? Then God changed to a white man, right? Jesus Christ, his son. Then God became invisible, and his son came here, and God became invisible, and he started erasing God, right? And then they took Jesus and made him God now in Christianity, and then they said, oh, God is spiritual and whatnot, because like I said, it was going off of the fact that these people never saw God. So God became more and more unseen, and that worked in promoting that doctrine. So they can put themselves in the image of God and replace themselves with the intelligence of God on earth. They can replace themselves and put themselves in that leadership or that authoritarian role over you, and it's worked. Now people, like I said, they ain't doing nothing but repeating a bunch of philosophies and concepts of man about the explanation of God, and they're not explaining nothing. That's the damn problem. They're not explaining about a supreme being or the intelligence of a supreme being in our people. They're not explaining that, how that works, or how that connects with us. They're not explaining that. They're not giving our people no intelligence or no knowledge on that, because I'm coming out with a book, and I'm going to explain the manifestation of the God race on earth and how they moved forward. I'm coming out with a book on it. I started writing it already. It came to me last night to start writing it. And it's going to be short and to the point, straight intelligence, because all this information junk is going out the window. All these Negroes that's sitting up here talking about they writing 50 and 60 books and all that, that's not going to be necessary anymore. The books are going to get shorter. The intelligence and the messages are going to get stronger, and everything's going to be straight and to the point. It's not going to be no more long, drawn out reading and a whole bunch of books. It's going to be everything going to be straight to the point. That's it. The age of information is gone. We're in the age of intelligence. And intelligence is like that pure, raw Richter of communication. It's that straight, raw, and uncut communication. It's not a whole bunch of double talk and back talk and things like that. It's just the question and the answer. That's it. That's how God works. You ask a question, God answers it. He's not going to sit up here and go through no long, drawn-out thing, nor is he going to send people that are going to do that. Do this because of this, that, and that, and the third, and that's it. That's it. That's how God works. He gives intelligence, not information. Man gives information. Man takes bits and pieces and fragments of things and adds in his own personal philosophy or his own personal things of what he wants or what he don't want to hear, and he takes things out. And that's how he goes to creating religions. That's how he goes to creating philosophies and doctrines, to where he takes God out of the picture more and more by doing this. And our people fall for it. Our people sit up in church and they're spellbound by it. They're hypnotized by it. They're hypnotized by the image of Jesus and Muhammad and all these other people and trying to be like these people. Oh, we got to be like the prophet. We got to follow Jesus. We got to be like this person. What about following God? What about following God? But I guess you can't follow God when the idea or the intelligence of God or the reality of God has been erased from your head. I guess you can't follow God, so you got to follow the next best thing, or at least they tell you that's the next best thing to follow, which is an image that they craft up and draw up for you to follow. You got to follow the next best thing, right? That's how that works. All that's working on when they introduced all these Jesuses and Muhammad's, that was all working on the image of erasing God's image off of the planet. Because we were the first ones to put God's image on the planet in the first place. As a man, a physical man, we put God's image there. They erased it and start putting their images there, or putting somebody who's supposed to be emissaries of the Most High. Now, I'm not saying God don't have people that he speaks through, logically speaks through. I'm not saying that. Of course. Of course God sends messages, he speaks through people, but damn sure with those people. Damn sure with those people that they say came through religion. Damn sure with no Jesus, no Muhammad, none of these other people. It wasn't those people in religion. Because where did it lead our people? Where did it lead the people to? But into a bunch of rituals and a bunch of rhetorical nonsense. A bunch of concepts and a bunch of doctrine. Right? A bunch of circular ritualistic doctrine. That's where it led the people. So don't give me this nonsense about, God was dealing with Jesus. You don't know about no God, no Jesus. You just believe a story somebody told you. That's all. That's the extent of your knowledge. You just repeating something somebody said. Like, there is no God, metaphysics, there's nothing new under the sun. Jesus Christ is all the same bag of crap that the black man and black woman just adopt without even thinking. Without even thinking. They just accept anything. Whatever garbage they dump off on our people, we just accept it. You understand? Past tense. You're right. You're right. We got 16 minutes left in the broadcast. Anyone want to call in? The lines are open. While we are waiting, January 27th, Sunday, January 27th, the true God revealed. The true God revealed. Come on out. For our people who claim they want things to change, because this is about a change. This ain't about me promoting no religion or promoting no concept of some God in religion. No, I'm talking about a real change in the evolution of our people. Our people have to put God first so that we can walk behind God and we can start receiving intelligence from God, which is our children, our ascension, who are already in the future. This is all about re-strengthening the connection or making the reception with Amen again. I'm not talking about no almond from Egypt and whatnot. That almond back there was the almond back there for those people. This almond right here don't come forward because, like I said, God moves on. God moves forward. God don't stay in rituals and in concepts of men. That's only in man's limited perception or idea of God, which is very small. God moves on. God sends messages for man to move on, for woman to move on. But if you're not in tune with it, if you caught up in rituals and customs of people, if you caught up in following people, I don't care if they black, white, blue, purple. Like I said, it's not racial thing. No matter what you caught up in, if you caught up in people and rituals and customs and culture and whatnot, then you're not going to be able to receive the intelligence of God. That's why I tell our people, we're not starting no cult. State of Mental is not a cult. It's an intelligence community after the order of God, Amen. That's what it is. We are an intelligence community after the order of Amen. Who is the true and living God. We're not concerned with nothing in this society. We're not concerned with the politics. We're not concerned with black and white and racism. We're not concerned with that. When you hear me making reference to racism and stuff like that, I'm only making things I'm only speaking on things that logically and factually and realistically happen. I don't care either way. I don't care about who people want to sleep with. So people want to make me about, oh, well, brother, you anti-gay, you anti-lesbian, you racist. I'm not any of those things. I don't care what these people do. I don't care about racism. I don't care about black and white. It don't matter to me. But if I'm going to speak the truth about something, I'm going to go ahead and speak the truth. And it's not about to offend nobody. It's just to speak the truth as it is. Those people got a problem with it, then you're not of God. You're not from God, I should say. Because all God deals with is the truth, raw and uncut. And if you can't handle it, then you're not people from God. The people from God speak the truth. The people of God tell lies. I'm going to say it again. The people from God speak the truth. The people from God tell lies by way of belief. That's why you see the word lie in the word belief. You understand that? That's how that works. That's how that works. Tune yourself out if you're not tuned in. Tune yourself out. It's not for you. The intelligence of God is not for every one of our people, because the majority of our people don't want things to change. They like their little primitive circle of doing nothing. They like their little primitive circle of smoking weed, chasing shorties, watching the football game, basically thinking about nothing and being a zero in society. Because like I said, the average black man in America is a zero. The average black woman in America is a zero. I'm going to be real with y'all, and I only say y'all zeros because y'all not thinking about nothing. I mean, when I say y'all zeros, y'all moving in a rotation, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And if you're doing things over and over again in a circle, then that means that you're moving in a zero form. You're moving in a zero form. You're not here existing for no reason. You serve no purpose in the evolution of the people. You're not moving forward. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're saying the same thing over and over again. You're not making yourself an instrument of intelligence for God. You're not doing that. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's supposed to be your purpose here, to be an instrument of God's intelligence. If you're not doing that, if you're not here to receive the messages of God, the forward messages of God, not this ritual, this customs and these religions and repeating these rituals and customs and spiritual talk and all that nonsense. No, the true intelligence of God moving the people forward. If you're not here as a receiver of that intelligence to help in moving our people collectively together forward, then you serve no purpose. You are of mankind. You follow the beast. And that's real. That's real. Go with him. Go with him, because God's intelligence is coming onto the planet. God's intelligence is coming onto the planet. There's not a damn thing nobody can do about it. The ones who hate on it, they can hate on it all they want to. They can make it about me and talk about, oh, well, brother, you just trying to get a religion going, and you trying to make people feel bad if they don't want to follow you. And let me tell you something. For the person who told me that, you was never following me in the first place. Newsflash, you ain't never stopped being a 5%er. You wasn't never following me just because you listen to my radio show. You Negroes don't follow me. You just listening to a radio show. The real people that's following the reception of God who with me, they understand they not following me. They following this reception. And they out here putting in the work to find our people. That's the people that's walking with me, not these people sitting around here just listening to my radio show and giving thumbs up on Facebook. Those people not with me. That's nice that you like what I'm doing. That's nice, but you was never with me. Because if you was with me, you would have understood what I was doing. I wouldn't have to explain this to you over and over again. You understand? But like I said, you didn't change. You didn't evolve. You missed the connection to God. So you just out here as a lost soul in the world talking about nothing. Running behind a bunch of other mentally dead lost souls. Mentally dead, blind, deaf, and dumb lost souls in the world. That's it. That's it. So let me go ahead and answer these questions before I get out of here. It's been a good night. It's been a pretty good night. Sunday, I'll say again, January 27th. Sunday, January 27th. Come out to the True God Revealed. That's that we've been posting a picture of. You might see it in the feed up here with Morgan Freeman on it with the pyramid over his head, because we only use Morgan Freeman's image because of the Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty thing. We used his image because they put him up, Hollywood put him up as God. And it's funny, as Hollywood put him up as God, like I said, the truth always comes back out again, where you have our people who put the black man up as a supreme being, the so-called black man, and now in 2013 and 2002, in the millennium, they put the black man up as God again. The so-called black man up as God again, a Morgan Freeman. Some knowledge behind that. So, go ahead and answer these questions. Why was there really a plot to get black people to stop following God? Yes. Oh yes, yes indeed. Because that started, like I said, when they introduced religion to you. They started when they forced religion on our people because we always had a high connection or a mental connection, or they knew we had a mental connection with God. We set up here and we let them use the word spirit on us, but we always knew we was connected to God mentally, that we would always receive reception from God. But then they turned it into spirit, then they turned it into some religion, then they turned it into some spookism. So it caused confusion. So that was all about disconnecting us and stopping us from following the intelligence of God and following the physical being God to follow man. To follow men who don't look like us, people that don't, and even people that look like us, were sitting up here trying to disconnect us so they could step into God's place, so that we could follow them to nowhere. Who thought this plot up? The men who were disconnected from God. Now, I'm not going to say it's white men. I'm not going to say it's black men. It's white, black men. It's all kinds of men and women who are disconnected from God. They come in black face. They come in white face. They come in yellow face. They come in red face. You got a lot of people who are disconnected from God. You understand? So as soon as they came up with these religions, whether it was some Christianity, Islam, Judaism, some African Shango religion, or whatever the hell they was pushing up to, some whatever, anything that was disconnecting us from God, the future movement or the future intelligence of God, these are the people that thought this up. Because they were mad because they weren't getting any connection with God. God wasn't dealing with them, so they don't want God's people to deal with him. Was getting black people to follow a religion a part of it? Yes, of course. That was part of disconnecting our people. Getting us to look at these people as authorities or authoritarians or theologians, meaning people who are coming up with theories and concepts that we follow and we believed in. We believed these people. We fell for their lies. They didn't even hide the word. Like I said, they put the word lie and the word belief. They didn't even hide it. We fell for their concepts. We fell for their lies. Now it's time to move on. Does the so-called conscious community play a part in this? Of course. Of course, because like I said, a lot of your so-called conscious community, they, like I said, they have accepted. Much as they talk about, they claim they hate the white man. They've done nothing but accept his philosophies and just put him in blackface. They nothing but a bunch of carbon copy. A lot of them are nothing but a bunch of carbon copy Caucasians talking this black stuff. You understand? Reading books on Egypt and things like that, yet they won't follow the principles of this. They won't follow the principles that of these people who were collective people who came together. You understand? They came together collectively. Yet our people claim they want to follow these people, yet you're not coming together collectively. You're making it about those people when it was never about those people. It was about the God who led those people, who guided those people, who sent intelligence to those people. But you don't want to deal with the source. You want to deal with the people. Right? And that's how they are today, because they are disconnected people. Your so-called conscious people are disconnected, the most disconnected people from God. Mentally disconnected, and they want you to be disconnected from God. They want to say God is a spook, God ain't real, but like I said, when you ask them the question, where did all this stuff come from? They can't answer you. Conversation over. Man, if you can't answer it, I don't want to talk. Ain't nothing to talk about. Conversation's done. What will be the end result of this plan? Separation. As I said, a beautiful separation. Beautiful separation of the ignorant from the intelligent. That's what we need in this day and time to move our people forward. A beautiful separation from the ignorant to the intelligent. See, because, a lot of our people are not getting this. 708. See, this is what I tell our people. 708?
Yep. How you doing?
All right. Well, we're in the last 5 minutes. You got to make it quick. If you got a comment, go ahead.
I have a comment. Not too much really focused on like what you're saying, but my concern is not what religion or what the white man think about me or what racism is in America. Racism will be here forever till the day you die. That's your problem. If you don't like me, what I'm doing, move on and keep moving on and keep moving forward. One thing I'm focusing on is why is the black community suffering and being destroyed and we being killed every day in these streets throughout America by black men. Black men, basically, I've been focusing and I'm just watching and observing why black men are being killed mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's not the race. It's not another race. It's not the bad education. It's not the racism that's going on here in America. Those are just challenges. That's great. I believe that today, this new millennium black woman today is the main reason 85 to 80% of black women today are trying to destroy the black man mentally, physically, and the image that anything that is positive that the black man can do to better himself and his community, whether he wants to believe in God or whatever religion he comes from, it is the black woman who is destroying the image of the black man.
Incorrect. That's not the truth. Was destroying the image of the black man. No, hold on, let me say this. I'll let you speak, brother, because
I have research.
That's not the black man and the black woman are mentally destroyed and they disconnected from God. That's why they're not moving forward together. They are disconnected and they both following behind the order of the white man, whether it's religion, I don't care if it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or whatever, that all people are mentally disconnected. That's on both sides. It ain't just the black man and the black woman, because that's another part of the game in the Matrix where we putting ourselves against each other and whatnot. We being conned into putting ourselves against each other. Yeah, the black woman's being utilized to help and bringing certain things, but then the black man's doing the same thing. He's helping and destroying our people as well. But brother, listen, I got 3 minutes to go. Like I said, you got a call early in the broadcast. We could have went through this and we could have went through this discourse, but I have to go right now, brother.
All right, peace.
Peace. All right, what do I want to close out with? All right. I need a quick 3-minute song. Wow. I love the close with music. Come on. I need a quick song. All right. Q-Tip Norah Jones. We're out of here.
It's the Republic of Mental rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mental black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can